what is the purpose of testing? Right. So far we have executed programs by using main method. Right. But by using main method, I can run only in this class only I can run. Right. I cannot run suppose I want to run multiple classes.
Okay.
Right. I cannot run. Right. I can only run this method example class whatever methods I have written. Right. I cannot write all test cases in single main method. Right. Entire all main methods I cannot write here, and all test cases I cannot write here. Right, we cannot understand. It will become all lengthy code in the single class if you write everything. Right. If I want to run multiple test cases at a time, or if I want to run test cases parallel, right, if I want to execute dependent test cases, right, maybe one test case dependent on another. That means if I want to execute one test case, I want to execute before that one more test case. Right, there are a lot of advantages with the TestNG is the just a unit testing framework. That is also a just to execute the code, piece of code, whatever. Suppose I want to test this. There is some developers written this piece of code.
Okay.
Right, I want to test this one by using main method. We can test it, or TestNG we can. But there are a lot of advantages with TestNG. Right, if we want to do assertions, here we cannot add any assertions. Right, we have to add if and else. But how to show right failure pass, right? We have to throw the action. Right, those are all additional things we have to write. But in test and already predefined assertions are there. We can use those assertions.
Okay.
Right, we'll see all. All right. Right, there are, before that we'll see some. There is a JUnit is there previously. TestNG is developed on top of JUnit only.
Okay.
They have added a few more features and make it as a TestNG. Correct. Developers usually use JUnit. From testing point of view, we'll use TestNG.
Testing.
Right. There is some differences. Right. Who developed JUnit? There are couple of people, or the group of people, Kent back, Davis tab, this Rich Gamma. These persons are developed JUnit and TestNG developed by Cedric Beast.
Okay.
He is the person who implemented TestNG. Both are open source only Java based frameworks.
Frameworks. Okay.
Both are open source and Java. We cannot, JUnit does not support to run parallel tests. TestNG we can run parallel tests.
Okay.
And it does not support some advanced annotations. That means there is some annotations are there. We will see that. It will support few. JUnit will support few, but there are more advanced features will support by TestNG. Dependency test cases are missing in JUnit. Dependency tests are present in J testing. And the grouping of test cases is not possible. Suppose if I want to execute a group of test cases, I want to execute regression test cases, I want to execute smoke test cases, I want to execute sanity test cases. Right, we cannot test in JUnit. But in JUnit we cannot test. TestNG we can group the test cases and we can execute. And these are all features we can see
in the test case.
All right. Now, coming to, all right, features of TestNG. There are a lot of features. Right, there are annotations before and after annotations. And the dependent methods, the dependent groups, data-driven testing, or reporting. Right. So far, in main method we cannot get any report, whether pass or fail. Right. Here we will get a reporting. Multi-thread we can execute parallelly. We can parameterize the methods. We can group the test cases. We can execute by using XML configuration.
Okay.
Right? We'll see all one by one. This is before going to that, one thing we need to do. Right? If I want to run by using TestNG, right? Instead of this is normal Java project we have created.
Java project.
And
Okay.
now we will, if I want to make it as a TestNG, I have to download TestNG jar. I have to add to it.
Mm.
Instead of that, in real time, usually we'll use Maven project. So we'll create a Maven project.
Maven project. Okay.
Then you project,
Maven.
then go for Maven and then Maven project. You just select the checkbox, create a simple project.
Wait.
Next, then group ID. Group ID is like a company name.
Mm.
Right. Suppose arkill.com is we can give in the reverse com.org, which company we are developing for the project.
Mm-mm.
Right. Just I will give com.training. Artifact ID is like a project name.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Just we need to give these two. That's it. Finish. Click on finish.
Venkat, so far we learned on the core Java, right? So can we add any core Java concepts in the resume, Venkat? Or no need?
Concepts means we know it explicitly add just right. If we are Selenium testing using Java means we will add core Java. That was single point. That's enough.
That's enough. Okay.
No need to mention I know collections, I know exception handling, I know this.
Okay.
No, nothing.
If we mention Java means then it's
Java means you should know, you are aware of all the topics of Java.
okay. Okay. Okay.
Correct. Then test it. It will create the right. By default, see it is taking some default Java library, JS something 1.8.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to change to JDK 17, I can change from here.
Mm-hmm.
One is build path. We can configure build path. Then build path libraries.
Mm.
We can edit. Starting, we have added JDK 17.
Mm.
And it will come workspace, default JRE. We can add it, apply, finish. We can add it. But what will happen next time? Whenever if I suppose clean. If I clean the project, what will happen? It will clean. Sometimes what will happen? This JDK 7 again, it will remove. It will again point to something JDK 8.
Mm.
Right, while doing some cleaning, sometimes it will happen. So instead avoid that problem. In the POM file itself, we can add. Right, with what is the Java version we are using, we can add here. Correct. To add that one, suppose if I want, I don't know how to add. Just we can go to JDK 17 and compiler again. We can add Maven compiler again. So how to add? Is we need to depend is one thing we have to add dependencies. Is not coming. We have to, every tag will have open and close.
Close. Okay.
Only dependencies, one more is to show you. Copy this plugins. One of the following is expected element plugin is invalid. Somewhere we missed something. Under which tag it will be. Plugin. Plugins plugin. No, let me check one project.
I think here we have added two ended plugins.
Dependencies one is that okay, build a tag. Under build a tag, we have to build close the build tags. Now we are using 17, just make it as 7. Okay, we can add one more plugin like Surefire plugin. If I want to run test cases using Maven, right? We can add a Surefire plugin. If I want to add, you can search in the Google again. You can get that Surefire plugin. And Surefire plugin. Surefire plugin. We have to copy this plugin. Inside the plugins. Here version, we have to add one more is compiler version. And compiler plugin, which version? This one is to make to use our project JDK 17. We will add compiler to run test cases from Maven. We will need to add. So the interview they may ask how we will execute test cases using what are the steps we need to using Maven. I want to execute from Maven. How we will execute. First step in the POM file we have to add Surefire plugin. Then TestNG. We will see later this. Right, just we need to add Surefire plugin. These two for now is enough. Then one more. I am working with the TestNG. So I have to add a TestNG dependency. TestNG environment dependency. Right, we can take the latest one. Dependency. Under dependencies, we have to add dependency. Remove the scope tag. Just if you save it, it will automatically download. It will add to our project here. Maven dependencies here TestNG is added.
Okay.
These remaining three jars, remaining jars are internal dependencies of TestNG.
Okay.
Right. For now, this is fine. And after this, we have to add plugin to our Eclipse. Right. Otherwise, it will not recognize the TestNG test cases. We have to go help marketplace. Please open in the search TestNG, press enter. Okay, here it is.
Okay.
TestNG for Eclipse.
Mm.
Right. I have already installed, so it is showing as install. In our case, it will say install.
Okay.
Just click on install and press next. It will ask for restart the Eclipse. Just restart the Eclipse. Right. These two steps we have to do. One is in the Maven, we have to add a TestNG dependency, and in the Eclipse help marketplace, we have to install TestNG plugins. Right, now we are good to go. Now, right click class. Right, suppose I will add our first data concept running test. Will create simple test case. Right, test. Right, while writing test cases, it should end with the test.
Okay.
Right. Suppose I am writing banking test or admin test, login test, add user test. Like that, it should end with the test.
Okay.
Right, the naming conventions. Right, class in Java also we have naming conventions. Right, I forgot maybe. Class name should start with capital.
Okay.
Right. It will accept small also, but naming convention is class should start with the capital letter, and each word starting letter should be capital. Right. Suppose if we are writing any method, right, public void login test, suppose starts with a small letter. Right. Then each word capital.
Okay. From second one,
Method will starts with small
letter.
Then each word will have
Okay.
capital. Suppose this is the login test. Alright, this is normal simple method. Alright, I cannot run this one. If you click run as, it will not show anything. If I want to make it as a TestNG test, on top of this, we have to add one annotation called we have to give the @ then there is a test.
Okay, @test.
Then we have to import org TestNG annotation.
Annotations. Okay.
From this package, we are importing this annotation. Then it will become TestNG test. Now, if you right click and run, it will show TestNG test, run as TestNG test. If you don't install plugin, it will not show. If you install plugin, then only it.
Okay.
Right, just dot out dot println TestNG test. We can run from here also. It is showing some run, right? We can click on it. What is happening here? Exception thread, no such file or port or something we are getting. That means if there is some issue with this latest jar file. In that cases, what we have to do? We have to go back. We can use the older version. Suppose 10, 7, 10, we will try this. Save it. And wait for some time up to download. It should replace in the Maven dependencies 7, 10. Then if it is running, that's fine. Otherwise, we have to modify it. Save another data. 7, 10. It's first this was 790.
Okay.
Right, it will show in the console, right, how many test cases we ran. Currently, we have only one. Passes 1, failure 0, skip 0.
Okay.
Right, it will show module wise and total overall. And here in the TestNG console also it will show green. If it is passed means green color will come. How many seconds? Millisecond. At 0.022 seconds it took.
Okay.
And then if it is fail, it will show as a red.
Okay.
Right. Here also in the right here, how many test cases passed, how many failed. Right. It also passed, failed, skip.
Skip. Okay.
Right. We can see in the console or TestNG. This console also, TestNG console also. Both consoles. And then after running, fine. Okay, there will be a test output folder.
Test output.
That after running, just refresh it. Test output folder there is. It will generate. Here report will be generated. Index.html. Open with right click. Open with suppose test editor. So that by default what browser is configured, it will open in that browser. Right here we can see what is the TestNG file we have executed, and one test case is executed. There is no groups times 20 login test. Method is login method. TestNG class name is TestNG test. How many milliseconds it took.
Okay.
We don't have currently output report. We'll see later. Ignore method. These are all right. This is chronological order. Means some order it will show all the test cases. Here results it will show green or red pass or red. One is this report. Right, this report. Okay, fine. One is this report and one more is emailable report. So if I want to send this result after execution to team or manager or someone, I want to send the report. Then we can send this emailable report. It has all the test cases, how many passed, how many skipped, what is the time taken, and each method execution result it will show.
Okay.
But we'll see later multiple when we execute multiple test cases how it will come.
Okay.
And there are two reports it will generate. One is index.html, one is emailable report.
Okay.
Okay, fine. This is the simple test case. We can execute right click and run as TestNG test. And also in real time, we will not run like this, run as right click TestNG. Right, in real time, we have to create some XML file to generate to execute these test cases. Because if I have a multiple test cases, suppose the TestNG test, I have TestNG test 1. Right, I cannot execute both. Right, I can execute only one. Right click. If I run all test cases under this class, it will execute. Right, I cannot execute these two test classes at the same time. Right, to execute that, we have to create XML files.
Okay.
TestNG suite files. How to create that? If I want to, I don't know how to create. So then we'll go. We can search for TestNG sample XML. And we can get that. We can copy this or file. Right, before that, in the other than Java files, we have to create under SRC test resource.
Okay.
Right click on SRC test resources, new file. I want to create like a TestNG .xml. Extension will be XML. Right, I can copy paste. Then just will copy this. Right. What it will have? It will have a high level. So this is also like a XML, like POM file. Right. In the POM file, we have same XML. Each start tag will have end tag. Similarly, this is also XML file. So suit will have end. Root tag will be suit. Right. Some interviews they may ask just to write down the high level. Right, tags in the TestNG file. Right. First parent tag is suit. It has some name. We can give any name. Right. Suppose this is whatever it is. The login suit was login. Right. We can do login suit. Under a suit, we have a test.
Test. Okay.
Under suit, we will have test. Right. We can write what is the test login test. Under test, we will have a class.
Classes. Okay.
Classes. Under classes, we will have class. Right. Suppose if we have multiple classes, what is the with the package name I have to give.
Okay.
Right. What is the package name TestNG? Right. If we have a sub package, we how to get package? You can click on it. On top, we will generate package. Right. If we are unable to identify from the folder structure, we can click on the class. We will get a package. Right. Package dot then class name. We have to give TestNG.
Okay.
But if we have multiple classes, then TestNG. If we control and click mouse click, it should go to the class. That means it is the correct path. If you give wrong path, it will not go. If you click a control and right, high level suit, suit has name, and a test has name, then classes, then class name. What is the name of the class? We have to give with the package full name.
Okay.
Right, then classes will end, test tag will end, suit tag will end. Correct. We'll see. This is the sample TestNG file. We can right click, run as TestNG suit. Correct. Currently, here one test case we have. In this class, we have one test case. Correct. Two test cases for first. Here also it will show login test.
Two classes. Okay.
Two classes, two test methods. It will. What is the suit here? Test name we have given login test. So high level it will generate login test. Login suit. What is the suit name we have given login suit? Then login test under the classes.
Okay, so suit name and test name we can it's whatever we can give, right, Venkat? So
Right.
we
can
have to
give,
remember.
We have to give some meaningful name of the TestNG suit.
Okay.
Right. Whatever we have given, it will come here.
Okay.
Right. Like this from TestNG, we will run. In real time, we will run from TestNG file only.
Okay.
That is the sample how to run. Now, we'll see. We'll start with the annotations.
Okay.
There are annotations.
Annotation.
Right. First, this is one annotation at the red test. To tell this method as a test case, on top of the method, we have to give at the red test so that it will become TestNG test case. Right. These are all before and after annotations.
Okay. Annotation means, Venkat, is there any meaning for that annotation?
Right. Annotation means annotation will provide a special feature to the some code wherever we will write on top of the method we will write. It will provide some special feature to this method.
Okay.
Right now it become special feature what you at the red test, it will become a TestNG test. It is a normal method if you write. On top of it, if you give annotation, it will make this method as this annotation. It will provide special feature to this test as this will become TestNG test. Special feature it will apply. Make a class or method as part of the test. It will not give anything. Right, annotation will have some, we will learn later this. Annotation will have some methods.
Okay.
That will learn later. Before, there is a before and after annotations.
Before and after. Okay.
That means before executing test case, all before annotations will execute. After execution of the test case, after methods, after annotations will execute. Before annotations will execute, before the test case execution. That means before start this actual test case, before annotations will execute.
Okay.
After annotations will execute once after test case execution is done.
Okay.
Right. Then we'll start with the before suit. Before suit will execute before starting the. I am right click running before starting the first test case of entire suit. Right. Before starting the execution, before suit will execute.
Okay.
That means if I keep it before suit annotation, that annotation will execute before starting the execution.
Okay.
After suit, similarly, after suit will be there. Before suit, after suit. After suit will execute after execution of all the test cases.
Okay.
After execution of all the test cases, after suit will execute.
Okay, so before suit means in this suit we have given few classes, right? So before executing these classes, first that before suit class will execute and then
before suit annotation, code will execute. Right,
For the
whatever,
Excel.
right, something you want to load the Excel files, you want to connect to the database, or you want to do before starting the execution.
Mm.
Right, then we can make it. It will execute only one time. Before shoot and after shoot only execute only one time.
Mm.
Before shoot will execute before starting the execution. After shoot will execute once all the execution done.
Mm. Okay.
Suppose. Alright, usually we will keep this before shoots and after shoots in the parent classes.
Mm.
Right, we can keep here also, but right, if I want to make it as if we keep here each test case, if we keep before shoot, it will execute for each test case.
Mm.
That means this entire test case before starting this test case, it will execute. But that is not the purpose of before shoot and after. I want to execute only one time. Alright, if I want to execute only one time, then we will keep it as in the one parent class.
Parent class. Okay.
So it will execute only one time.
Mm.
So to keep make it as I will create, usually we will make it as a one base test.
Base test. Okay. Parent.
Parent class.
Mm.
Then that base test we will extend. It will extend. Now, in the base test, what we will write one method public void suppose before. So if I want to make it as if I have to add annotation at the rate before so
Mm.
right on top of it, so that it will become it will add special feature to this method. It will execute before starting the execution.
Oh,
Just will make it as a system before so. And similarly, we'll make it as after so.
Mm-hmm.
Before soup and after.
Mm.
Now I will extend here also base test. Okay. Now in the TestNG we have given both the test classes.
Mm.
Right now, before starting the execution, executed before soup. Then test cases are executed. Then after suit is executed.
Okay.
That means it will execute only one time.
Mm.
If we have how many classes, that is right, and no need to worry about. Before starting the execution, before suit will execute, after suit will execute once all the test cases execution done.
Okay.
Right, we need to keep it in the parent class. If we keep it in every class, it will execute multiple times.
Every time. Okay.
Right, that is not the purpose of before. We have to keep in parent class, we have to extend it.
Mm-hmm.
Then one more annotation is before test. Before test and after test. Here we can have this test tag, we can call it as a one module.
Okay.
Right, suppose each test case like a one module. Suppose this is a login test, I will rename it as login test.
Mm.
This will make it as a something add user test. Right, login is one module, add user is one module.
Mm.
Suppose if I want to make it one, right, we can make it all user related with as user test. Maybe all the user related add, delete, update, or and then admin test. Right, login test, user test, admin test. Each one is one module. So in the TestNG, we can make it all classes here. Right, there is no issue. TestNG.login test. I can make it. Let login test. Admin test. But user test. I can make it. Right, I can execute it. It will okay, and then we will make it as here. Okay, login, login method, login, test. Then here we will make it as a user test. User test. Yes. Admin test. Each method will end with the test. Test. Okay, fine. Now we can run it. Here we will make it as a suit. Right, we can make it all the suit. Login is there, admin is there, user is there. Right, we can make it as a high level application. Suppose application name, whatever it is. Right, suppose it is a airlines. Maybe correct airlines suit. I can make it as test also. We can make it as a airlines test. Something login. Now I want to make it as a run. Right now, what will happen before suit executed? Then login, admin, user executed. Then after suit. Right now, coming to picture, I want to execute before each class. Something I want to execute before I want to reset something. Reset data, database data maybe. I want for each class. Right, then we cannot execute here. If I want to run this only, I cannot do that. If I make it like this, I cannot reset before. I don't know right where to keep the code to reset before executing this, before executing this, before executing this. So for that, what I have to do, we can make it as a before test and after test. That means we can make it multiple tests. Then remove. This is only for login. Then this is only for admin. This is only for user. Then we can make it as this is the login test. That means this is one module. Then this is admin. Then this is user test. That is here output how it is under airlines test it came all three. Right, we have given previously airline test under that it has all classes under same test case. So it came all under like this. Now suppose if I execute like this. Right, now it will come login test under airline suite, login test separately, admin test separately, user test separately it will come. Now for each module, that means for each test tag I want to execute before something I want to do and after I want to do something. That means before each test tag execution. That means before each module execution, I want to execute something. I want after execution of the module, I want to execute something. Alright, so now come to here. Now we have a before test.
Okay.
Public void before test. Before. Similarly, we can make it as after. Right before and after test. Okay, now execute it. Now first executes before sleep. Then first module is started, login test. Then before starting it, before test is executed. Before test annotation.
Okay.
Then login method is executed. Right. Currently we have only one. If we have multiple, it will execute multiple. We can have multiple login test.
It will, after all this login.
After all this, it will execute.
Okay.
That login, login 2, login 3. Now execute everything. And next test annotation. Right. Before shoot, before test, before starting the first module, before test is executed, then all the methods of login test.
Okay.
Right. Then after test is executed. This is one module. Again, before test is executed, second module, all test cases, methods. Then after test.
Okay.
Then third module. Then after shoot will execute at last. Right. For each module, before test and after. Before each test tag, before test and after test will execute.
Okay.
Right. Now, two more instructions. Before class, after class.
Okay.
Now I want to execute for each class. Suppose it can has multiple classes. Right. Each module can have multiple classes. Now I want to execute before starting the first test case of class.
Okay.
Right. I want to execute something for each class before and after. Before starting the first method, I want to execute something, and after executing all the test methods in the class, I want to execute something.
Okay.
Right. Now these two methods will come into picture, before class and after class. Right. Before class and then after class. Okay, fine. I run it. Correct. First started before so. Now again module started. So module before test.
Before test and
Then in module again first class started before class. In the before class we have in the login test how many? Three methods are there. Three executed. Then after class. Now again second class is started. Again before class. Admin. Only one method is there. So now after class.
Okay.
Right. For each class before class, before starting first test method, before class will execute. After executing all the test methods after class. For each class, test class, before class and after class will execute. Now module.
Okay.
Before module is completed, so after test is executed.
Okay.
Now second one again. Second one before test is executed. Then again class, first class is started before class. Methods, test methods executed. After class, after test. Then again third module. Then completers.
Okay.
That means class, before class, after class will execute for each class tag. Before starting the first method in the class, before class will execute. Once all the test methods executed, after class will execute.
Okay.
Right. Before test and after test for each module. Right, now there are two more, before and after method.
After method.
Before and after method will execute for each test method.
Each test.
Correct.
Each method.
So before starting the test case, before test will execute. Once the execution done, after test will execute.
Okay.
For each tested tag, that means for each test case, before method, after method will execute.
After method will execute. Okay. Before method.
Before method. Then after method. Right, now run it again. I will remove this class. Log it up. Now before suit, before test, before class, then for each test
Before
case, before method and after method will execute.
Okay.
Then after class completed, after test. Then second one, before test, before class, again before method, after method. Then completed after class, after test.
Okay.
Right now, interview question they will ask what is the sequence of execution. Alright, first before suit,
Before so.
before test,
First before class.
before class, before method, then test case.
Okay.
This is the flow. Before suit, before test, before class, before method, then completion. Completion will come like this. After method,
Third class test. Suit.
after class in the reverse direction. Right. After method, after class, after test, after suit.
Okay.
Right. Whatever order before will execute in the reverse way, it will close.
Okay.
Right. There are two more, but it will learn later. These are all the groups. In the group section, we will see this.
Okay.
Right. Now, here we have annotations. Right. Before group before suit and after suit will execute. Before starting the execution, before suit will execute. Once execution is done, after suit will execute. Only one time. If we have such a scenario, suppose you want to read Excel data, only one time, no need to read every time. So in those cases, we'll keep under before suit.
Okay.
Right, only one time. Then before test and after test. If you for each module you want to do something, we can go for before test and after. Before class and after class for each class.
Each class. Okay.
Right, before method, after method for each test method.
Okay.
Right, like this, it will execute. The interview they may ask what is the order of execution of annotations.
Before suit.
Right, before suit, before test, before class, before method. Similarly, in reverse way, after method.
Method after class.
Right, before method executes, right, then test cases. First of all, it will execute before suit, before test, before class, before method, then test cases. Test case, one test tag we will tell, test method, then reverse order. After method, after class, after test, after suit.
Okay. Okay.
Right, fine. That is the annotation.
Annotations. Okay.
Right, we will see